即将要来到的日子是让大家都觉得非常感伤的日子，就是中共对于法轮功成员的迫害即将迈向21年。这21年，有不计其数的法轮功成员为了争取自由、争取人权跟民主，用不同的方式接受到中共政府的很多的迫害。我们都关心现在香港的事件，多少香港的年轻世代被失踪、被死亡。其实这样的故事发生在法轮功的成员身上已经21年了。自由、民主、人权是世界普世的价值，可是对于中共政权反而是背道而驰，越来越集权，越来越做更多迫害的行径。所以当我们面对这个历史伤痛的日子，这个21个年头的奋战，在自由世界的所有的公民朋友、世界的公民们，我们都应当团结起来，为受迫害的这些争取人权自由的人士们给予支持，给予更多的力量。
针对法轮功在世界上不断的推动人权，然后对于宗教的自由的部分，我们予以肯定。针对中国的这个疫情的问题，应该要深究到底。那我也想，全世界都在看 WHO 怎么做。人权跟宗教自由跟人的个人的自由是不能被忽视的。所以呢，也感谢法轮功这段时间在世界各地做这样的宣扬。那我们也希望说法轮功继续坚持下去。我相信坚持一定会有很好的成果。而且，其实人权的自由跟宗教的自由是普世价值。我希望说未来在这一个部分的论述上能继续在推广，能继续在深耕，也希望大家一起让我们台湾，让所有世界变得更美好。
It's my job to speak up and say that Falun Dafa is good. Say that truthfulness, compassion and forbearance should be rights that we respect around the entire world.
Falun Dafa is a meditation practice that you can do in your daily life. It's very simple exercises and meditation. And there's also a very simple philosophy to try to be a better person.
Today in China, as you all know, Falun Gongs are persecuted, arrested, tortured and killed.
The government launched a nationwide persecution to eradicate the traditional and peaceful spiritual practice of Falun Gong. This follows the principles of truth, compassion, tolerance.
Falun Gong practitioners never harmed anyone. They just did their own prayers or meditation on their own. That's the question we want to ask Chinese government. Why do you want to hurt and harm people who never hurt you or hurt anyone else?
The reason why the system can treat Falun Gong so inhumanely is the dehumanization, the depersonalization, the marginalization through this propaganda and repression against Falun Gong.
Even within this quite straightforward resolution, there are still problems because the absolute deluge of propaganda from the regime in Beijing vilifying Falun Gong as some sort of extremist cult. Now, I've met, as I said, hundreds of members of Falun Gong. It is not a sect, it is not a cult, there is no money involved, there is no brainwashing. All the normal characteristics of a cult simply don't exist. These are people who practice their spiritual exercises on their own. And yet, as I said, because between 70 and 100 million people in 1999 were practicing Falun Gong, this was seen by Jiang Zemin, then the leader of the Communist Party, as a threat to his own position. It wasn't, of course, but he saw the opportunity of creating an enemy within. Just as during the war, the Nazis singled out the Jews as a special characteristic and did what they did to the Jews. The same is happening today to Falun Gong in China. That is why it is genocide. That's why I say it's so serious.
There's no evidence that Falun Gong is a cult of any sort. There's no evidence of political action to try and bring down the Chinese government. There's no evidence of anything other than a deep desire to be left alone to practice their spiritual beliefs in peace and to not be locked up and murdered.
We've actually had a case in the courts in Canada where it was ruled that Falun Gong is not a cult. And if you look at, as you said, all the indicia of cults, it is not one. And it's simply a part of this demonization that goes on. It's an easy term to throw out. David and I have met Falun Gong practitioners in probably 50 countries.
Or even more, maybe.
Okay. All walks of life, all ages, all backgrounds, all education. I've found them to be a wonderful group of people.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with any of that. I mean, Falun Gong, first of all, it's not even an organization because it's a set of exercises with a spiritual foundation. Everything's on the internet. You don't pay anything. You don't sign up to anything. You can start whenever you want. You can stop with it whenever you want. You don't even have to tell anybody you're doing it. Their principles are very simple and ethical. And I mean, all of that is true.
I think the Falun Gong movement is one that is based on spirituality and peace, and that ultimately should be able to thrive without being oppressed by governments.
Well, our voice continues to be strong on behalf of not just Falun Gong practitioners, but anyone who aspires to freedom and respect for human rights in China or anywhere in the world. And we condemn the continued oppression. We condemn the continued crackdown, which has been going on for a very long time. And we continue to let them know that we're on their side and we'll continue to raise their issue and not allow the world to forget it.
We will not rest until the situation with regard to justice for Falun Gong is secured.
And to the government and the leadership of the People's Republic of China, we urge you that in the 21st century, it's time to join the global community that respects the rule of law and understands the basic requirement of the respect for human rights for all, and to end the oppression of Falun Dafa and Falun Gong.